the state of Minnesota.
There's a movement out there, a central goal to bring us all together, and always remember, let's do what's right for the people of Minnesota.
Good evening, everyone. After 2 months of I will and I'm going to, Jesse Ventura is ready to start building his official gubernatorial resume.
After being sworn in as Minnesota's 38th governor, the straight-talking Ventura will now be judged by his actions, not his words. A few hundred of his closest friends and a television audience, millions joined in the festivities as the former James Janos became the most powerful man in Minnesota. KARE 11's Carrie Miller joins us with a who's who of those who shared the governor's big day.
Paul and Pat, movie actors, Navy SEALs, average folk. Jesse Ventura's friends come from a lot of different places, but today they all crowded into the rotunda together and marveled anew at what Jesse can do when he puts his mind to it. 2 months and a day after he turned Minnesota politics upside down, Jesse buried at Fort Snelling.
And I can tell right now that the ground's heating up a little bit where they're at.
To his family,
Who, they're riding along on another one of Dad's escapades. And we're not done yet.
and to the young voters who'd had so much faith.
We cannot fail. We must not fail, because if we do, we could lose this generation, and we dare not let that happen.
Listening in the audience, his closest family and friends, Arnold Schwarzenegger, with whom he made 3 movies.
He's always contributed a lot as an actor to my films. We have created a tremendous friendship since then. His wife Terry, my wife Maria, and myself and Jesse, we all hung out together and spent time together. So I would support him every way I can, and I would not miss the opportunity of being here.
And the buddies who were there in the days when he was a young recruit, and they were all under the thumb of their demon drill instructor, a guy they called Mother Moy.
He is just as big as a house. He's 59 years old. He's built like a Coke bottle machine. He's got a head like a Tyrannosaurus Rex. He's got a voice that makes Janice's voice sounds like mine.
Which is tougher, being a Navy SEAL or being the governor of Minnesota?
Oh, Navy SEAL tougher.
You're kidding.
Oh, yeah.
Why?
It's just tougher. I can't say anything less than that about the Navy SEAL. No, it's tougher. This is nothing. He'll be able to pull this off without a problem.
If Jesse Ventura has any doubts, he's keeping them to himself. Remember, our new governor likes to say he needs to defy death every now and then to really know he's alive. That's the kind of tough talk that wins Jesse Ventura admirers from all over the world, which is why there were 3 Japanese television stations here to document this inauguration. Ventura actually told me last week, Paul and Pat, that he may make a trip to Japan with the tourist department because there is so much interest in him and in pro wrestling to try to get Japanese tourists to put Minnesota on their list of places to visit. Back to you.
Interesting.
Maybe not in the winter, though.
Yeah.
Right.
Actually, from northern Japan, it's cold there, too, so they might fit right in, actually.
They got a good taste today, didn't they?
Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
Thank you very much. Linda Kinchlow reports.
Every man, woman, and child, he said that he'd give $1,000 back.
So Sheila Moorhead and a couple dozen other demonstrators want to remind the new governor it's time to deliver.
That was his campaign promise, which I think helped get him elected.
We're here to let him know that he was elected on the progressive vote.
There were more signs than people on the Capitol steps. So where were the Minnesotans who didn't have an agenda to push?
The duties of the office of governor.
The duties of the office of governor.
They watched the swearing in of the state's 38th governor on television.
The reality of the situation is, it's those young people. It's those disenchanted voters that we've reached out to.
And it didn't matter where the television was, we found these folks in a department store.
I just thought it was a big joke to have someone like that as governor, elected as governor, but I think I've accepted the fact that he is acknowledged as governor now. He has taken the oath.
He doesn't tell lies, like he doesn't just say something that he can't promise. If he can't promise anything, he won't say it.
We cannot fail. We must not fail, because if we do, we could lose this generation.
I've never really been involved in politics. It kind of drives me crazy. I don't like to get into it, don't like to get in discussions, but ever since, he kind of came on board, I've been excited.
Honesty. That's what we want. Don't tell us what we necessarily want to hear. We want honesty.
He seems to tell the truth, and
Yeah, he breaks all stereotypes of, politicians.
As of today, the man who breaks stereotypes is off on a 4-year mission as Minnesota's leader. Rhonda Kinchelow, KARE 11 News.
Voting will remain.
Who's in charge? It's a new political year, and in Arizona, 5 women are now running that state. While in Minnesota, a former professional wrestler is the new governor. That's Jesse Ventura, of course, age 47, 6 feet 4 inches tall. He weighs in at 250 pounds. He'll be paid more than $120,000 a year, and he has said no appointments before 9 a.m. so he can get in his daily workout. But the real heavy lifting comes next. We begin tonight's in-depth reporting. NBC's Fred Francis in Minnesota.
Do solemnly swear.
I do solemnly swear
Ventura won with only 37% of the vote.
that I will support the Constitution
Yet he takes office with 70% of the state supporting him.
to the best of my judgment.
Ventura, who body slammed his way into the State House, is a showman not easily intimidated.
You're nervous only because it's new territory, but it's, in the end, it may not be any more scary than that first time I walked out in Madison Square Garden.
But those matches were scripted, and he's never been blindsided in the political arena, where pundits here say Democrats and Republicans will go for the throat.
You're hit. You're bleeding, man.
I ain't got time to bleed.
His most famous movie line may come true unless he learns political compromise.
Governor Ventura is no lightweight. The legislature goes into session tomorrow, and Ventura will submit a full budget within a few weeks, without slogans or funny lines.
Today, he reminded lawmakers that young voters put him into office, and he urged the legislature to make them part of the process.
We must not fail, because if we do, we could lose this generation, and we dare not let that happen.
It was an emotional day, with a minus 40-degree wind chill outside, but inside, the warmth of family and friends brought tears to the former Navy SEAL's eyes.
He has expressed over the years interest in helping people, working for the people, and he always said the ultimate achievement is to be a civil servant.
And it will not take long to know whether Jesse, the Governor Ventura, is a real civil servant, or as some say here, just an entertainer. Fred Francis, NBC News, St. Paul.
State capitol today. They were joined by nearly 2,000 well-wishers, dignitaries, and celebrities like Arnold Schwarzenegger to hear Jesse make his first speech as governor. His theme, Do Your Best, and Ventura promised to do just that for the state of Minnesota. We have a team report on Governor Ventura's inauguration. KARE 11's Dennis Stauffer has reaction from the people who put Jesse in office. But we begin tonight with Carrie Miller, who is live now at the state capitol.
Paul and Pat, Jesse Ventura is at the governor's mansion at this hour. He's winding down after a long day. He's got his family there with him, but he's also got his friends gathered around him, people who flew in from all places from all over the country. And when you meet them, you realize they are as colorful and as unique as the new governor is. This old Capitol dome has seen a lot of things, but this was history in the making, and everyone knew it.
Hold on, you can make it, you can make it, hold on.
From the citizens who got a bird's eye view to the small circle of friends and supporters pressed close in the rotunda to the photographers and reporters capturing it for an intrigued world. At high noon, Jesse Ventura ascended the stage and took the oath.
I do solemnly swear.
I do solemnly swear.
And then swept his family into a euphoric embrace. In an unprepared and emotional speech, the new governor took all doubters head on.
And so for all you people out there that might have questions on whether I can succeed, questions whether I can do a good job at this huge task, the big shoes I have to follow in.
But the highlight of the day appeared to be the presence of some of Ventura's former Navy SEAL buddies, especially the still-feared drill instructor, Terry Mother Moy, who told me in a live interview why, after being a SEAL, being the governor would be a snap.
Which is tougher, being a Navy SEAL or being the governor of Minnesota?
Oh, Navy SEAL is tougher.
You're kidding.
Oh, yeah.
Why?
It's just tougher. I can't say anything less than that about the Navy SEAL. No, it's tougher. This is nothing. He'll be able to pull this off without a problem.
Jesse's brother, also a former SEAL, agrees.
That creates a lot of his motivation, because when you go through the training, BUDS training they call it, basic underwater demolition SEAL training, in order to get through that, you've got to be focused the whole time.
And focus is something Arnold Schwarzenegger understands. On leave from his latest movie making, he watched his friend's inaugural from the second row and in a live interview praised the savvy of Minnesota voters.
How proud I am of him, that his vision became a reality, and how lucky the state is to have him as a governor, and how smart the people of Minnesota are by choosing him over the other very experienced politicians, because he has great visions for this state, and he's going to turn those visions into reality.
Reality has just hit home.
Drill instructor Mother Moy told me that his former recruit always had a lot of stamina. The new governor is going to need that. The state legislature convenes up there on the Hill tomorrow at noon. Let the fun begin after that. Paul and Pat.
All right, Carrie, thank you. Not everyone was happy about today's inauguration. A group of about 40 people from the Taxpayers League of Minnesota protested on the front steps of the Capitol today. They were there to remind Ventura of his campaign promise to give $1,000 back to every Minnesota taxpayer. Prosecutors say the governor has recently backed away from that pledge. Protesters, I should say. Tens of thousands of people decided not to brave the cold weather today and instead watched the inauguration indoors. Very wise people. Carol Evans' Dennis Stauffer was inside with them, and he has that story. Dennis?
Yeah, Paul, the turnout may have been small at the Capitol today, but there was plenty of interest in what happened there, as we found at a popular St. Paul restaurant. Today, politics was on the menu.
I do solemnly swear.
I do solemnly swear.
He really speaks how we feel.
That I will support the Constitution.
That I will support the Constitution.
He's just different enough. He's just refreshing enough that I think it's something the state needs.
Heads turned as Jesse Ventura became Minnesota's new governor. The folks at Billy's on Grand in St. Paul came for lunch, but Jesse had their attention just as surely as if he had walked into the room. They listened and they talked.
He says, gee, I don't know. I better read up on something like that. I mean, that's very refreshing coming from somebody who's
I'd rather have him
office.
be honest than lie to me.
Even some who didn't vote for Ventura say they like what they see.
That kind of proves the point that the common man, you don't have to be in politics all your life to do a good job, and this is going to put it to the test.
Jason Theory and his colleagues do a lot of traveling, calling on clients who know all about our new governor all across the country.
I've had people say, I wish I had a Jesse Ventura for our governor. I think they're a little jealous.
And while Ventura was cheered on to the challenges he faces, his predecessor drew cheers for challenges met.
All right.
Governor Carlson arrived to the applause of staffers, having ended the job Jesse begins.
I asked Carlson for an impromptu interview, but he declined, saying Jesse is governor now. I couldn't help wondering if I had heard just a touch of relief or even pleasure.